Hello, everybody. My name is Daria, and I was born in the USSR. I can still say that. I was born in Kyrgyzstan. Both of my parents are Russian, and my mom is from beside Saratov, a place called Volsk, and my dad is from Saratov, and both of them met at the far east of Russia. So my background is Russian. So will I just continue telling my life story?
No. What we can do is, that was great. That was really good. So you were born, like my wife, in the former USSR, in Kyrgyzstan. And how long did you live there before any major movement happened?
I lived there for 3 months. And then as a newborn baby, I was taken to the plane. So the first time I've ever flew on the plane, like I was 3 months old.
They took me.
Well, it wasn't my choice. And we went to Syria and we spent a couple of years in the Middle East. So 1 year I lived as a baby in Syria, and then the second year we moved to Egypt, to Cairo.
Wow. So you lived in Syria. I'm still stuck on Syria.
It was a very different place back then. And
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Like they actually had like houses without holes in them. Like,
I can't remember that. I think I went into diapers anyway, so that wasn't my problem.
So after Syria, you went to
Egypt, Cairo.
Cairo.
Yeah.
And you lived there until when?
Well, we came back there later, but at that time we lived there for another year. And apparently I preferred Syria better because when we moved to Egypt, I was like screaming like crazy.
No, don't take me. I don't want to go. Leave me in Syria.
It took me a while to start speaking because I moved around and there were a lot of international people. So there were like, well, there was Arabic, there was Russian, and there was English. So I used to speak in Arabic a bit. When people would come over to me as a baby and try to like grab me by my cheek, I would say la. And my parents were like, okay, she speaks Arabic.
It's awesome. What does la mean?
No.
La means
la. Yeah. And, well, in Hebrew, it's le, so it's very similar.
Interesting. So you, as a child, you spoke a little bit of Arabic. And
that was the only word I knew.
a little one, just one word. But so you know Hebrew. So when did you move to? Did you live in Israel?
Yeah, but that was later when I was a teenager.
So did you guys ever come back to Kyrgyzstan or to USSR in
we
that
did
time?
Actually, yeah. So when I think I was 2 or around 3, we came back, and then I lived in Kyrgyzstan till I was 4, and then we moved to Moscow. My parents decided to move to Moscow.
And what was the reason for all the moves? Was it more business? Was it personal reasons?
It was my dad's work.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to work in the United Nations.
Yeah,
so
very cool.
that is a big explanation there. I'm a United Nations child, and my dad's career started pretty much when since I was born. So
got it.
So yeah.
All right, so it's kind of in America we would call these like military brats, right?
Diplo brats,
right?
Yeah, I've heard
so
this
you're
term
like
as
a
well,
diplo brat, right?
I bet, yeah, that explains a lot of my movement around the globe.
And would you say that all of these, we'll get into a lot of other movements, but would you say that all of these movements really play a big part of who you are today?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm quite different comparing to my parents and to my older sister as well, who is 11 years older than me. So yeah, definitely, for sure. I think I like moving around. If I'm stuck in one place for 1 year, I feel like I need to move somewhere. And
you get that itch?
Internal, I need change. And I get on, like, when I meet new people, I'm usually quite friendly and open, and I'm not shy. I would introduce myself and make friends pretty quickly as well. So you become very adaptable.
Right.
Yeah. And smarter as well when you learn other, languages as well.
So I don't hear a Syrian accent. I don't hear like you're from Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. I don't hear a Hebrew accent.
Oh, no, I don't speak those languages. Unfortunately.
What I hear is a little bit of leprechaun. that was slightly derogatory. I'm sorry. I should show you my tattoo. I have a Celtic cross on this shoulder, and there's kind of a Celtic. You know what a crest is, right? It's like big old family homes had crests. It was like their tribe or whatever. So my brother and I, we actually have the same. We created our own crest based off of our last initial. So it's like a K with this kind of shamrock clover design encapsulating. It's really cool. Show it to you later. But yeah, I found out that my family's from Ireland. But on your end, you don't have Irish family, but you have an Irish accent. Yeah. What's up with that?
That's the thing. You're rushing the whole story because it takes like years to get there. But
wait a minute. So
normally,
okay. So we're still back in time, and you're between Kyrgyzstan and Egypt.
Yeah.
And how old are you at this time?
I'm 4.
Okay, and give me a rough year about.
Well, so that would be
mid-90s.
Yeah, like 1991, 1992.
Early 90s, okay.
Yeah, that's when we moved to Moscow, and it's the 90s. It's a very fun time in Russia.
And you came after the fall, right?
Yeah, thank God we came after the fall, so we were really lucky. And since we were abroad, we were able to buy like Coca-Cola and like a lot of like other stuff like you wouldn't have in the USSR, which was very rare. So we came very kind of like luxurious here, and a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know, feeling a bit jealous maybe, but I don't know. Actually, my biography is it's not like the most kind of like straightforward and the easiest, because my family wasn't when we moved back to Moscow, my family wasn't well off, so the 4 of us lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. But I was 6 and I didn't care.
Were you told where, or do you remember like where? This was in Moscow, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember like what section, what area of Moscow you guys were living in?
Yeah, of course. It was southeast of Moscow. Oh, no, sorry, northeast.
Northeast. All right. So
northeast, yeah.
Like Baumanskaya or even further?
No, it's more like Yaroslavskaya highway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in that area.
Yeah.
It's not far from like Lasino-Ostrovsky Park, like this kind of like, forest area.
Oh, but that's still pretty far out from Moscow. I mean, it's Moscow, but it's...
Yeah. It's far from the city center.
Yeah.
Ish.
Ish.
By Moscow standards.
She just said ish. It's good. But you were 4, 5, 6 years old, living in Moscow. Do you remember any of those small moments?
Yeah, I do. I was a happy child. I spent a lot of time in the yard playing with kids after school. I wasn't like an A student, and I was happy, and I felt like kind of stable finally. That I'm settled. I'm in one place. I live here. I belong here. Everything is good. But then my dad started traveling again.
It's time. It's time to move.
Yeah, the wind of change has blown again. And then when I was 6 and 7 and 9 and 10, we started moving around again, around the Middle East. So we went to Egypt when I was 7. We lived in this little country kind of like side called Ismailia, which was 100 kilometers away from Cairo. And I used to go to school 3 times a week only. And for the rest of it, I was homeschooled by my mom. Not the best experience ever, because when
Mom's your teacher.
Yeah, when your mom is a teacher, and when first, she takes all your mistakes personally, and then she starts giving out. And when a teacher gives out to you, you don't really care. But when it's your mom, it's a different case. So yeah, it was quite emotional. But it was good. I think it also taught me how to be self-dependent when it comes to my studies, because a lot of time I'd study myself.
Sure, time management.
time management or like learning how to learn, and just like if I need to find out something, I'll just do it. I don't have to be spoon fed all the time. So
Right.
I started learning that when I was a kid.
Yeah. So you're the one asking yourself, like, did I do my homework? I should do my homework.
Yeah.
I'm not even in school 3 days a week, so should do something. You can only play with so much sand in Egypt. You're just like, guess I'll learn math.
It was actually quite bad because we were I felt stuck in the apartment, so I used to rollerblade in the apartment.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't go outside.
And what floor were you on?
It was second floor.
Okay.
And we were our apartment block was based right beside a mosque. So at 5 o'clock, you'd hear muezzin like saying Allah Akbar, Allah, and then it's like so you had
time to put the roller skates on.
Yeah, we had this alarm clock as well, like the way you have your two dogs waking you up at 7. So that was
it. But what was the alarm for?
For the morning prayer.
For morning prayer, and it was like 5 times a day. They have them?
Yeah. It was like a few times a day. I can't remember exactly how many times it was.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. You just travel around with your rug, just throw it out. Just had lunch, go to a park, throw it out. It's time.
Not really. Like we couldn't really go outside when we were based there, so I was really like stuck in the apartment, or we'd like travel somewhere by car, and that was it.
Interesting.
So I was in this like secluded mode for like 6 months. And then I'd come back to Moscow with my mom, and then I'd finish my school year in Russia, in Moscow.
Okay.
So we kind of like balanced that, 6 months, a year we'd spend with our dad in the same place, and then for the rest of the 6 months we'd go back to Moscow.
And the purpose for going back for those 6 months was more about education?
Yeah, so I could finish my school year, get my grades, and actually say I finished the 4th grade, I finished the 5th grade.
Okay. So, okay. All right. So you were still really heavily tied back to Russia, mainly through the education.
System.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you lived in on and off Egypt, Moscow until when?
So I finished my 9th grade, which is was primary school, then the middle school in Russia. And then my dad finally asked me do you want to learn how to speak English and actually, study through English? And I was like, I don't know what was wrong with, I'm still the same. I haven't changed that much. But I said that yeah, sure, it's a great opportunity. I need to seize this chance because when else I'm going to get this opportunity? So I decided yeah, okay, I'm going to go to Jerusalem for 1 year and go to an international Anglican school there. Mm-hmm. So I can hear the leprechaun now. When I say there.
we're not even drinking. It just comes out so naturally.
Funny you say that. In Ireland, people say that I sound American because when I studied for that 1 year in that Anglican international school, my base English was American.
Was American English.
So when I say American, I sound American. And when I say Ireland, I sound
It's two
Irish.
totally different people. Two totally different people.
There you go. This is one of the...
But it's funny because my American ear hears your Irish accent.
Of course.
Very clearly.
Yeah, because you won't spot what's normal and natural to you.
Yeah.
You spot what's different. And
right.
kind of hooks you up.
So bad.
It's just how we're wired.
I want to rewire myself. I want to hear more of you, more of, but that is you.
That is the problem. Yeah.
This is what you get.
Yeah.
You're bouncing around. Now you're in Jerusalem and you're studying there. And how long did you live in Jerusalem? You said a year?
1 year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did my IGCSEs there.
Yep.
And then I was supposed to do my what's called IB.
Yeah, IB A level, not A levels. You're doing your
my high school exams. So I just entered my high school exams.
Testing my brain right now. You have your end of year project, but you stayed there until 12th grade?
No, not really. No, I did my kind of 9th grade again, or my the last grade you do in the middle school.
Okay. So before you go into
high school, yeah. So
right.
I had to do this
DP
year again.
Yeah. This is the diploma program. So in the IB, you have PYP. That's the primary years, and then you have MYP,
it's different
middle
in
years.
different country.
Well, if they're using the IB, we're getting off topic. But the point is, IB is broken up into three parts. So you have the PYP, you have the MYP, which is middle years program, which is what you were in, and then you have the DP, which is the diploma program. Not what some other people might have been thinking. So dirty minds. You finished out your middle years. Just before the high school years, before the DP program, and where did you jet set off to next?
So after that, I'll just say a few words about like how the education went there and how my life went there. So this is Jerusalem. This is the year when there were a lot of like terrorists and a lot of like explosions and blow-ups of the buses happening. So so we had to stay in quite a bit, for example, I wasn't allowed to move around Jerusalem freely. So I had to ask my mom to bring me here and there. And I was getting over my language barrier, which was like a big thing for me as well. And like did play a big part in molding who I am right now. And, but the education was quite poor there, the quality, because the teachers, a lot of them, they were quite laid back. They had this like safe profession there. They weren't going to be fired anyway. So
they weren't motivated to really motivate you to get a good education.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For example, we had this economics and geography teacher who, for half of the class, would speak about different names of sex. Then he would say something like about, having sex with a condom is like eating a sandwich in a plastic wrapper. That's me like learning English there. I was like, good to know. And then for the second half of the class, he tried to rush through the actual curriculum. So I was quite motivated to change the scene. And there were two options. Either I was going to go back to Russia and continue my education there, but I felt that I went through a lot when it came to learning how to, like, getting over the language barrier and learning how to speak English fluently. So I thought that, no, I'd like to continue my education in English. But so there were different options. Something like, we were thinking of opting for something which is not too far from my parents and from Israel, and something which was like good and reliable. And we had quite a few Irish friends in Jerusalem. My dad had quite a few Irish friends, and they were like, well, like, what's the point of going to England? It's more expensive there. Come to Ireland. We're going through this like great financial times. Like, the Celtic tiger is roaring because it was back in 2005, and
things were on an upswing.
Yeah, and we can like look after your daughter if something happens. So like, you should consider Ireland. So we started. So we started going through the list of different schools where I could go to. And since I was a bit shy at that time and I wasn't super confident in my English, I thought that it would be better to opt for an all-girls school. I don't know why I did that.
Tip: I went to an all-boys high school.
Really, in America?
Yeah, in America. Yep, and my choice. I chose. Yeah, so
that's not common in America now.
It's not, and I wouldn't do it again. Actually, I probably would. It was a great school. I really learned a lot. A great education. So yeah,
where in America it was?
Long Island, just outside of New York City by about 45 minutes. The name of the school was called Chaminade High School. It's in Mineola, New York. And honestly, for private Catholic education, it's probably one of the best, I'd say, in the country. Really, really good.
Chaminade.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
Crimson and gold. That was our school colors. Crimson and gold. Yeah. And our yearbooks were like so thick and so heavy. I mean, like, really, like every year from 9, 10, 11, and 12, you get a yearbook. It's a part of your tuition. And this thing is like, and you have yearbook committees. So you have people that are a part of this club that they're just, working on every day throughout the course of the year, producing this massive Bible, if you will, Catholic high school, pun intended, and you get, I have them back home somewhere in a box. And I mean, all 4 of them, because you get one for each year, I think they probably weigh at least 1 kilo each.
So were they all made of like photographs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a quality production. It looks, I don't know if you remember Encyclopedia Britannica, like, and Holmes would have like their shelves, and it would like be volume 1, volume 37, and it would be like A, B, C. It was Wikipedia before Wikipedia. It was like you had.
I'm aware of those encyclopedias. Yeah,
so
Britannica, they're really famous.
Imagine having A, B, C, and D. That was our. It was huge. I mean, there were probably 200 pages.
That's nice. So
really,
when you're gonna be grandpa, you'll like be flicking through them,
looking at my pimple face, and just like, oh yeah, there he is. I was on the gymnastics team. All boys Catholic high school on the gymnastics team. Can you imagine the amount of fun that guys would have with you? Like, oh, you're on the gymnastics team. All boys school. You know, it's like, I like the sport. But what actually was fun was, you know, when I go to the gym, right? We had a school gym, right? With weights and everything. And you got guys from the wrestling team, you got guys from the soccer team, ice hockey team, football team, lacrosse team. I mean, these are like real jocks, you know, like, and schools in America, we're really like, every school has teams, right? Sports teams. And the camaraderie is really school centric. I
think it's amazing. And this is something, which lacks majorly in Russian education.
It's non-existent. You go to school. After school, you've got ballet, you've got chess, you've got this, you've got that, and it's all somewhere else, right? If you had integrated it into the school, you know, kids I think they would feel more
connected
a part of
with each other.
Yeah,
definitely.
You know, you have this unity, like I want my child when he or she, well, hopefully he, because they won't allow girls, but because it's all boys school, you know, there's a couple girls schools and she can go to, but I would want my son to go to this school because it was such a good education.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got into a lot of schools, a lot of universities, more on the fact that I went to this high school than my grades. Right. So, you know, I had good grades, but they weren't great grades. But when universities see that you went to this high school, you have this rigor.
Right.
You know, you have this mentality that has been, it's like going into the army, right? It's going into the armed services. They teach you how to follow directions, how to be responsible, how to manage your time. And I think I got a lot of that from this, rather than if I went to public school. Right. Public school is just kind of like, we call it babysitting for teenagers, you know?
You just learn how to scan information and then like, you know, regurgitate
it. Blah, 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 blah. In one ear, out the other. I mean, my brothers opted for that, but, you know, I think everybody has their own journey, and
that's true.
What's important is that, you know, you have a good family background. You know, parents are really, you know, being parents, you know, not like the parents that we have sometimes today that they want to be your best friend and everything's a yes and you never get a no, which is really unfortunate because kids don't need another friend. Kids need a mom and dad. Right.
It depends.
So do you think
how old you are?
well, the question goes to you. I mean, do you think that your parents were more parents, or were they more like your friend?
My parents here definitely were like my parents, and they still are my parents. And this is the time for them to shift to being like friends. But that's also cultural.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, when you have Russian Soviet parents, it's a different thing.
Well, and you know, I mean, if you had to put it, you know, dichotomy, you know, like, is it a good thing or bad thing? I think it's more of a good thing.
Depends. If you don't go through it yourself, you never know.
Maybe. I see how my wife's parents are, and there's rigor, like, very, very strict.
Yeah, direct and straightforward, and they're like, you should do this and that type of thing.
When you're a child and you don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
As long as what the parents are telling you to do is a good thing, right? You know, I mean, you got parents that are telling you, you know, what to do, but you know, you kind of grow up and you get this understanding like, well, they weren't always right, and that's okay, right? It's you don't go and blame them.
Nobody is perfect or ideal. That's like we're all humans.
I see a therapist trying to fix that. But let's jump back to Ireland. When you lived in Ireland, did mom and dad come and stay in Ireland, or did you go now on your own?
I was brought to Ireland by my parents, and I was left in a boarding school.
Okay, and this was the girls' school, right?
Yeah, it was all girls' school. It was called Alexandra College, and I also chose a good quality school, which was supposed to be one of the kind of like well-known, respected. It's like I don't know, it's stated that you'd you're more guaranteed to get like higher scores by studying there, and in Ireland. Actually, like the systems there is quite like equal, and so it doesn't matter like which school you went to. It's all based on your grades and your points you score in the final year exams. So, for example, if you go like maybe not so respected school, but like you get your 700 points, you will get like your medical course in Trinity, let's say.
What is this? 700 points medical? What is? I have you're
sorry.
speaking another language. I
haven't explained myself properly here. So in Ireland, you study 6 subjects in your towards your like final year exams, and then you score 100. Like the maximum amount of scores you can get in each of the subjects is 100. So usually kids study 7 subjects, but like you're judged based on the 6. So you can get 600 points maximum. But I'm just joking because there actually are some very smart students who got like 700. But that's close to impossible. You have to be like a wonder kid.
Yeah, we call them nerds. We call them nerds in America. Just like bookworms. No life. That's it.
Maybe they're just very smart.
We had kids like that in my school too, and I just hated those kids. I was just like...
You're a bit jealous there.
Yeah, maybe. Because I worked my butt off for a B, for like an 85 out of 100. I mean, I would study for days. And
I was studying not through my native language. I was studying
and you're
English.
Studying in English.
Yeah. And like I was recommended to, for example, avoid history and pick geography instead because I was more likely to get like higher points there because there was less writing I was like going to be judged upon.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So
but like
did you do it?
Yeah, I'm still really happy with my grades. They're not amazing, but I got my 430 points.
Does it affect your salary today?
No.
Then it doesn't.
It got me into the course I dreamt of because...
Which was what?
It was, it wasn't my dream, but I kind of knew that like I would be able to get a grasp of that course. And it was economics and sociology in Trinity. Hence my, notebook is from Trinity because now I'm a Trinity alumni chair here in Moscow.
Trinity College.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is based in Dublin.
Just so, everybody out there in like headphone land can Trinity. I was like, Trinity. We have a Trinity church in New York City. So I was like, Trinity College.
Yeah. It's a very popular name.
Very old.
It is.
Old.
It is. Yeah.
And was this UK now?
No, that's Dublin.
Dublin Trinity.
Trinity College, Dublin.
You see, I'm not. Yeah, you say Trinity, I'm thinking like UK, London, or something like somehow you.
So that's why I'm here to clarify this misconception there.
Trinity College, geez, I'm not doing too well. So you stayed in Dublin all throughout your high school.
Yeah, and actually in the beginning when I was like in my 6th year, I was considering to move to the UK. And I even like applied for different universities there. Mm-hmm. But then my parents were still based in Israel now. So I was moving around Israel, Ireland, Russia, Israel, Ireland, Russia. Every time when we had a school break in Alexandria, the girls would be like, oh, okay, so where are you going for holidays? Israel. I'm like, no, Russia. And then the next time they'd be like, oh, where are you going for your break? Like to Russia? No, Israel. So
just keep bouncing around.
Yeah, I moved around quite a bit. And towards the end, I realized that like I got tired of it and I'd just like to settle somewhere. And I decided to stay in Ireland for another 4 years of my college.
So you stayed in Ireland, high school, college.
Yeah.
With trips each year to one of your triangle countries.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about like making friends, how you're feeling, like fitting in. Like, what did you notice that was easy for you, and what wasn't easy for you?
Depends on the country, though.
Well, let's talk Ireland. I have to say it like you, right? I have to just kind of push it out there. Let's talk about Ireland.
Well, I don't do it on purpose there.
No, well, of course I have to, because I'm practicing. I'm practicing. I like to do voices, and some people tell me you're terrible at it, and I just keep trying. Just keep trying.
Your head, but it's okay.
I do, but we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, so what was easy for you? And
when I arrived to Alexandria, I was still quite a Russian girl, and it was a posh school as well. So I went through a bit of grinding there to fit in. So one of my best friends, Laura Sutton, she still reminds me of that moment when I just came first into our class and introduced myself. I had two ponytails or pigtails, and I was like, "I'm Dasha from Russia," and I tried to avoid it. I was like, "I'm Dasha. I'm from Moscow, from Russia," but that's it. Everybody heard Dasha from Russia. Everybody started blasting out laughing. I was like, "Great start there."
Can't help it.
But yeah, like my style of fashion had to go through some amendment there. I used to wear big sporty runners and jeans, and the girls told me like, "No, you can't wear that. You have to wear something else."
Now the girls, like your peers, were telling you this, or the school was telling you? So the girls,
the girls, yeah, of course.
And what was their fashion?
It wasn't that different, but it was just like, let's say, like Skechers, for some reasons, like Skechers runners weren't in, so it's like wear something else, like Adidas, or whatever, or pumps were in. So I started looking after my style, and I learned how to talk back to people quickly, especially when you're a teenager and you're girls. There are a lot of
cat fights.
Cat fights. I was going to say something else, but. Oh, sorry, you didn't give me a chance to curse there. That word. Starting with the letter B, I suppose. So I have built courage, and I was able to talk for myself, and I was able to talk back really quickly. So it's also amazing when you're...
You better watch yourself, girl.
That's exactly... No, like, you're joking, but this was the case. We had 4 Nigerians. Because we were a bunch of non-Irish international students, and we stayed in the boarding school full time. So yeah, it was people from different countries like Russia, Kenya, France, and Nigeria. So I learned we had this Nigerian dance-offs where we would put Nigerian music on, we would dance around like crazy. And yeah, I've learned some kind of the lingo there as well.
So you guys, I mean, you're all girls school. You have cliques, right? You have these cliques. You have these groups of.
Of course, yeah. That was the case for sure. And those cliques still exist. I look at my school friends nowadays when we're in our 30s, and the cliques are still there. They're still friends. So kind of I suppose it's nice as well. So you kind of grow up as a family as well. You have this little family circle.
Yep.
But of course you had this cool, rebellious girls, and then those nerdy bunch of girls, and then you have a bit of gothic girls, or more emo style.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. I belong to international clique.
So you
international girls.
Yeah, you kind of migrated toward what you grew up around, and kind of. There were
no Russian girls in the school during that time, so I was the only Russian there.
Slava Bog.
I suppose, yeah. No, actually, thank God, yeah, because.
Because what would happen is you have 2 possible things that happen, right? You either connect and stick to each other, right, and then maybe your English maybe suffers a little bit, or you absolutely hate each other. And it kind of becomes this Russian revolt inside Dublin,
Oh no!
inside the school, being you just don't
when
like
it
each
comes
other.
to opportunities of hating somebody, there is no problem with that because we would have 8 girls living in one dorm, so there were a lot of fights and a lot of like hate, being spread around
Did you have
the
like
dorm.
makeups really quick though? Like the girls nah, I'm over it. It's okay. Or the like just kind of festered. Just like
It
keep
it,
going,
it
keep
it
going.
depends. It depends, but like you learn how to kind of like make up pretty quickly with people because you're forced to live in the same room.
Right.
So like it's very difficult to keep like the grudge going for weeks and weeks.
It's tough.
It
It's
is
hard work to do that.
Yeah.
I still don't like you.
It drains a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But like
Like you're in class together. I mean, you're living together like all the time.
and
Like,
it was very claustrophobic. Yeah.
yeah. So now you're claustrophobic in like today's life.
No, I think
You got
no,
over it.
I think I'm just like I have these two modes when I'm just like really used to being on my own.
Right.
When I was a kid growing up in Israel, for example, and my mom was
Sure.
my best friend, and then like being in the boarding school, being surrounded by people 24/7. So I'm like comfortable in both environments.
So it might be a good time to kind of bring up this word that we discussed last time. I don't know if it exists, and I said I think I just made up a new word, but you're our first guest that is actually Russian born or USSR or former Soviet Union born, and now you have repatriated more or less for the time being back to, because we don't know if the itch is going to start getting scratched in another year or 5, but you're this repat, like, so you repatriated back to your home country. Talk about that.
Yeah, or another term for that, which I heard as well. It's called since I'm Russian and I moved back to Russia, but I wouldn't say I moved back because there's nothing to move back to because I lost all my friends I used to have at school. So I had to rebuild my life from scratch. Well, apart from my parents who were like, who moved here and they're based here. So I would call it being not just an expat, but like a Russian expat where, you can judge and like you can like place yourself outside the box and you can like look at Russians from outside of the box. And actually there was, I used to have this school friend, and every time when I'd go back to Russia, I would be saying like, "Oh, Russians do this, Russians do that, da da da." And she started getting pissed off. She was like, "Russians, Russians, why would you say that?" As in like you're Russian as well. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of a mixture of different cultures. If you haven't noticed that.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of obvious. No, but in a good way, because it makes you so individual, and that's so refreshing and genuine to see someone that sees their country that's not really their country. It's really a weird topic to discuss because it's hard to describe it because, like you said, you're coming back to something that's not really familiar anymore. It's gone through so many different changes.
And I have gone through so many changes personally as well. Because so I lived in Ireland for almost 9 years. So I went to university there. Then I worked for 1 year in GUGO. Then I did my master's there as well.
What were you doing in Google?
It was an interesting job. It was a bit of a monkey job. And I was on this like 1 year contract. So I had to train the search engine of like different algorithms. But the main thing is that I browsed through the whole like Russian internet, Runet, I knew like every single category for like content you can possibly get on internet. So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I had to browse through like 300 websites every single day.
Oh my goodness, that's not cool.
It's a bit of I turned
Laborious.
to, like I've learned a lot of things and I turned into Russian Wikipedia after that year.
A font of knowledge. We have this game show actually in America. Maybe you've seen it on television called Jeopardy. Alex Trebek, Jeopardy. It's basically a whole bunch of useless knowledge people like test themselves on. So like they'll be like, I want forest trees for 300, Alex, and like so basically it's like this tree is indigenous to, South America in Argentina, and it's white with brown fur. And of course, one of the people playing the game knows the name of this tree. What is the Ipis facaralaras? I think I just cursed there. And it's like, yes, for 500, but anyway, so you through Google, you've now amassed this massive amount of information, whether good or bad, but.
I had to work through like adult content as well, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
So you did that for a year?
Yeah, and then I did my master's for a year there as well.
And what was your master's in?
I was in management and digital marketing.
Ooh.
Yeah. So after Google, I was inspired to pursue the marketing path, and in 2013, it was kind of clear that online marketing is growing. So Absolutely. I decided that was promising. I should, learn more about it.
It's really cool. Yeah, this is like the space that I've jumped into haphazardly without a life vest, and I'm like drowning. But it's fun. It's fun.
It's fine. Everybody's drowning right now. Even I'm drowning because it's like it changes so quickly.
It does. Yeah. The speed and pace is amazing. So now you've been back here in Moscow. When did you return back?
I came back in 2013 in autumn.
In the autumn.
Yeah.
In the fall.
In the fall. Fall it is. It's an American podcast here.
What's autumn? It's my friend's name. She's nice. My sister's name is Summer, so it's like it's an internal joke in my brain. My sister's name is Summer.
Okay,
so
good to know. Yeah. For me, fall, I don't want to fall. Sorry,
No, you want to autumn.
Yeah.
I don't want to fall.
I'd rather
Falling's not good. I want to autumn. So 2013.
Yeah, 13. Yeah.
So you came back a year after me, and
all right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, and. Our new guest just arrived, Sule. Sule, you can come on in. Sule, how you doing, bud? You want to just grab a seat? We're just chit chatting. We're recording on some cameras. You can find a spot. Just relax. How you feel? Good. It's my friend Dasha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You can just kind of get a feel, relax. You can get the Wi-Fi. This little paper right here if you need the Wi-Fi. Now, don't worry, we'll cut this out of the YouTube channel, or maybe we'll leave it in. Maybe we'll throw it in a little at the end. We don't know what we'll do.
It's very dynamic here,
It is. We're very fluid, so it's just take it as it goes. What do you do for work here? Like freelancing, or what's the deal? How do you make the cheddar? How do you make the rubles?
I prefer not to make rubles right now. I just realized that because of the currency crash. And the exchange rate is very not favorable right now, as ruble has become weaker at the moment. Yeah. So definitely not. So I've been back to Moscow for the past 6 years, and I've done a good few things here. So in the beginning, I decided to work in startups and practice online marketing, and I joined one of the startups, and straight away I was this marketing CMO, and I was so happy with that. But
was it easy for you to get a job?
Well, yes and no, because I worked in Google, and when you're just freshly graduate from college and you land in a job in Google, it's a good and bad thing, because your standards are pretty high already.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, where do you go from there? Yeah. So then I arrived to Moscow, and I haven't realized that the salaries are pretty low here. Mm-hmm. So when I went to a few interviews, people were asking me for what's my expected salary rate is, and I didn't have much practical experience yet. I had the standards, so I would say well, I used to earn X amount of money, and people would be like, cool. Keep going, girl.
This way, right?
Yeah, this is the money we pay for to our directors who have been in the field for 10 years, and you're just like freshly graduate and you're asking too much. So and I haven't, like, it took me a while to realize like what was the problem, because I was genuinely, surprised, like, what's wrong here,
This is what I got paid. This is what I did. So, nobody wants to go backwards.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now you're in Russia and you kind of have to adjust to the expectations.
Yeah, you have to learn what the reality here is,
How was your Russian? How was your Russian? Like,
it was, well, my dad bought me a few Russian, grammar books, and he was just like, you need to work on your Russian. You need to work on your Russian.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, the Russian goes away.
Yeah, it has deteriorated. That was like one of the reasons why I decided to move back, because like I haven't seen my parents for like past 8 years or 9 years. Properly, and then I realized that I'm reaching the non-turning point where I'm going to end up being a total foreigner in Russia. I will know like how to pay your bills, how to pay your taxes, and I'm just like, I don't know the local reality here, and I decided that I should probably learn that, and I can go back again, like wherever I travel.
It's like kind of like a now or never thing. Like, it's really, like you said, like a turning point where you like. It makes sense.
Yeah. And, like, since I am Russian, like, I need to have, like, a firm grasp of, like, what it's like to live in Russia. And not to be scared, like, of, I don't know, some kind of, like, criminals, or, like, I've learned what kickback is in Russia.
Kickback?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. And when I was explained it, I was like, what is this? And they're like, well, this is blah. And I was like, oh okay.
Do you want to explain it? Like...
Well, I started working in this online agency, and it was a Russian agency. It was a bit like a startup agency, and they did digital marketing for property players. So they had like big developers, and it was weird working in the Russian office because I've never worked in a Russian office before. And it was a bit of a shitty place as well. And it took me a while to realize where I got myself into. And so for example, they would, like, everybody knows what is a kickback, though. Is it?
Yeah, but how did it work in your situation?
No, well, I didn't have to do kickbacks myself, but basically it's just like when you agree on a certain budget between like an agency, a marketing agency, and a company, and then like, you agree to increase your budget, and then like, that margin you would like put into your pocket. Ta-da!
Yep.
Well, that's how it works.
Yep.
In general.
That's true.
So it was interesting to learn, relearn what it's like to live in Russia. And in fairness, like in the past 6 years, Moscow has changed drastically because the infrastructure has improved thanks to the new mayor, Sobyanin. Yeah. And
it's really good. Even like the amount of time that when we came here to today.
Yeah, the change is massive.
Clearly you see it, but yeah. So we
came at the right time.
We did. We actually kind of came like a little late to the game because we actually had that crisis in 2014 that kicked the ruble all the way up to like 70 or 80 or something like that to the dollar.
2015.
When I came,
2014.
I was making dollar. So my employer was actually paying me the equivalent.
Good times there.
And it was at 34 rubles.
When you arrived?
When I arrived, it was 33, 34. And then it quickly, after about a year, it started all the way up to, I think it maxed at like 76 or something. And even the pound was like 120 rubles to the pound. It was nuts. It was nuts. And that's when we saw a mass exodus of expats
out of Moscow.
20, 30,000 gone.
Gone. Actually, at that time I was working in the in the same building where the Irish embassy is, and I worked in Enterprise Ireland for 1 year and a half. So I went back to my art, like after that crazy digital marketing agency, I went there. And I remember those times.
Yeah. Not fun, very dark times.
They were interesting anyway. Definitely kept everybody entertained and on the tips of their toes,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I was making like 100. I remember what I was making when I first came. So just to kind of, I won't tell you like the salaries, but I'll tell you the difference of like, I was making 4 times less than what I originally came to Moscow making.
You
And
were paid in dollars.
I was made in, yeah, yeah. And then I started working in rubles.
Yeah, and that's
And I'll just tell you, I was making 100,000 rubles a month. And I was working for a language agency. I
yeah,
won't say who or what, but they were decent. They were okay, but I was working in rubles.
yeah, exactly.
And that plays an effect on maybe your rent, the food that you're buying. Mostly the food. I mean, the food just. I mean, I remember going into Petrokrostik and the dairy section. I mean, especially with Crimea and the sanctions. I mean, it was like empty.
Really?
I was like, where did all the cheese go?
Oh yeah, 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 I remember that time. The cheese, yeah. Everybody was so upset that
was like,
the
what?
cheese was gone. Like
They took the cheese, and
like European cheese.
they had a picture or even video of in Russia bulldozing cheese, like because they it was maybe illegal. They were trying to get it in somehow. And there
Oh
was a
right,
picture
right. They were trying to bring in
They were trying to bring like
yeah.
what was it, Belarusian cheese or
Oh yeah. We had a lot of Belarusian things, like Belarusian bananas, Belarusian like pineapples.
right. Everything's relabeled, rebranded. It's from Belarus.
Yeah, everything.
Belarus.
Yeah, Belarus produces everything.
Yeah, that's one thing that about being here. Like my English of like certain words gets kind of messed up because like I wouldn't say Belarusian. I would say Belarus or
Yeah, you're becoming Russian.
my
You're
brain is
integrating.
all messed up. All messed up. So was it easy for you to find living accommodations like apartment and stuff here? What did you use Seon or like how did that work?
Well, thank God I'm quite lucky. And like first, I lived with my parents for 1.5 years,
Okay.
and then my sister, she got married, and she moved out of one of our apartments, our family apartment.
Hey,
So I moved in. So thank
nice.
God, like I don't need to pay rent, and like in this respect, I'm super lucky.
That's really good. I
Yeah.
was actually hoping for like a more like grinded out story because like people are like like they're listening and they're like, all right, great, like this girl's gonna give us some tips on like trying to find like the approach. Yeah, like my sister just moved out and I just moved in.
Very cushy there,
Sorry guys, listen to the next episode. I promise it'll be better.
It'll be more useful.
I got no tips. Just find somebody that's got a sister that's moving out and you're golden. But yeah, I mean, so what's up with your registration? Like, because you're Russian, like how does you just go to Moi Documenti and like you can
Yeah,
register
since
yourself?
I'm not a proper 100% expat, I'm like Russian expat.
Yeah,
Since like I still have a Russian passport,
yeah,
so I don't like yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, because
Well, it's amazing when you're based in Russia for sure.
yeah, because for me and many other people that are on work visas, it's very difficult, especially when you live in an apartment where your landlord doesn't register you.
Well, I had to go through this thing in Ireland.
Uh huh.
So I did have this experience, but
Yeah,
in Ireland.
in Ireland.
Yeah,
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 it's tough,
yeah.
but you actually had a landlord that would register you
Yeah.
or somebody that.
Well, there I didn't have to be registered by a landlord, but of course I would have to use my utility bills, which I would pay myself, and I could like
Okay.
use utility bills, papers, whatever.
The way they do it here in Russia is quite different from a lot of other places in the world. I was telling my wife how it is in America, and it's very easy.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's like it's almost like you can kind of lie, and
Forge.
yeah, but here, I mean, it's just different. It's just different. So what does the future hold for you? I mean, now that you're semi sort of quasi back, how do you feel at this present moment, leading up to the next couple of years?
Well, it so happened that Ireland has started like sucking me back in, and it started with one of my friends I have mentioned her already, Laura Sutton. She had a wedding in Ireland, and she started like prepping me up towards this wedding. I'd say like 2 years in advance, and she's like, "You have to come, you have to come," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." Earning my salary in rubles, working as a part-time English teacher, and developing my other business project. I
Right.
was just like, I wasn't like swimming in the swimming pool of cash here, but she's like, but yeah, you're definitely coming, right? I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. And then when the time has started, like, approaching the date, I was like, okay, I've promised, so I have to hold my promise. I need to do this. So I came back to Ireland, and I haven't been back for 4 years, like a 4-year gap.
Right.
And it felt so weird because, Ireland and Dublin is my home as well, because I did grow up there as well. So this like old
That's so weird
reality.
to me.
Yeah, so all this old reality has started like sucking me in, and I like there were times when I forgot about the existence of Russia, and okay, and yeah, 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 yeah.
You see me like playing with the knobs over here.
Yeah,
You're just
yeah, yeah.
like-
And then I have started like coming back to Ireland more often because I met my business partners here in Moscow, and they've started a startup, a video production company.
Uh-huh.
So it does make sense for me to be based in Ireland so I can meet my clients there
Yeah.
and be closer to my partners as well in order to be able to build like a healthy business.
Right.
Because right now, like it's great to have a VPN.
Yeah.
It does make things easier, but a lot of websites, for example, are blocked out. So
The bad side of the VPN.
the bad
Yeah.
side, yeah. So yeah, it looks like I probably will be moving, back to Dublin at some stage. Although I've been to Lisbon recently and I love Portugal. Portugal is also great.
I have yet to go. It's on the list. It's on the list.
Really? Oh no, you
Yeah,
have to.
I've
It's
never been.
amazing. It's amazing. Been to Paris recently, and then I went to Lisbon, and I was so disappointed with Paris because it's just like the brand is like I don't know. It's overrated for sure. And Lisbon is amazing. The food is great. It's not super expensive.
So Paris is overrated? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Paris's
Yeah.
brand is
Yeah.
overrated.
The Paris brand. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my wife is in love with Paris, but she wants to venture out and go back to Barcelona and check out Lisbon and
Yeah, wait
Yeah.
till she gets to Lisbon.
well, I guess we're gonna wait until this whole 14-day quarantine is over to start
Yeah, yeah,
scheduling
yeah,
out of
well.
Russia trips. But yeah, we will get there eventually. So I wanted to ask you what was the question I wanted to ask you? It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Something about the future.
Yeah, it was you're gonna go back to Ireland, but
Well, we'll see.
that's
Anyway,
what I wa-
like that's the plan.
that's what I wanted. So what would you say, like in the 6 years that you've been here
Yep.
in Russia, in Moscow, what are some of the things that you noticed that you didn't like?
Ooh, we're getting critical here.
Yeah,
There are a lot of things I didn't like, and there are a
that
lot
you
of
still do not
yeah,
like.
and I still don't like. The mentality is different here, so but at the same time, maybe those things I didn't like they were actually good for me, and they caused me to grow as well.
Like what?
Well, for example, the culture here is a bit different when it comes to gender roles, and women are expected to be here more feminine. So I did some personal development courses here, and a lot of like guys, like we had some exercises where we're supposed to give each other like a very honest feedback, and this is one of the things. A lot of guys were like. And a lot of girls were also like, you should be more feminine, you should be more feminine, you should be more feminine. So I started like buying more dresses, and I don't
Again,
have,
being told what to wear.
yeah, I don't have a nail polish, for example, but I like for 1.5 years, I always had nail like polish on my nails. Now I'm finally giving my nails some break.
Does it draw on you? Do you kind of in a way feel like that it's not you? Like when you go to work, like you're kind of doing something for
Well, no, actually,
other people?
I enjoyed it because,
Okay.
like, you feel pretty and you're just like, oh my God, it's so nice. But yeah, I think, like, when it comes to my style. Like once again, like it has improved. And I like when I went back to Ireland, you know, the guys were probably less used to like more feminine girls, and they were like woo. So you know,
Sure.
like I used to and still probably get like a
Yeah,
lot
you're
more
like-
attention there.
Right. Everything's lifted up.
Yeah, exactly.
Get more looks.
But
Here it's just like expected, but there, yeah.
yeah. Here it's like a normal standard, but there it's like less expected. So, actually, I'd like to focus on the good things, which I've kind of like,
I was gonna switch into the good things. I was like, she gave one really long negative. She's like, I'm done. I'm finished.
this is too much for me. You know.
So
I have
what
to
are some of the
switch to
positive things?
The positive things is like compared to Ireland, I know people drink here a lot less, and
It is true.
yeah, surprisingly, but also because I personally gravitate towards like, you know, my interest lay like between like business entrepreneurship. So this kind of like business entrepreneurial circles here in Moscow, they are quite healthy. So they're into yoga, meditation, no alcohol, and you know, like high vibrations and all that stuff. So yeah, there is a surprisingly quite like high Buddhist influence. So yeah, I liked that. I started like, you know, eating healthily, like working out more. And when I go to Ireland, I miss those things because I start eating crap and drinking a lot of alcohol. Because they're like, you know, you can't cross a single street without having a pub on it in Dublin. It's like, it is a fact. So, so yeah, I think like my lifestyle here is like healthier and more productive work-wise.
Well, I definitely want to acknowledge you for just a minute and say thank you for coming on the show.
It was my pleasure.
You are the first female guest on the
Wow.
show, and you actually get 2 points because you are Russian, and it's really very refreshing to get not only a female perspective, but it's also really nice to get the Russian perspective that's been away, and now for the time being you are back. And you know, we didn't really get into the whole like reverse culture shock, but naturally that does
It
play
has
a
been,
large
yeah.
role.
Yeah. It's been there.
So you know, I really appreciate that you said yes to come on and just talk about your extensive travels and your upbringing, and what has made what seems to me a really very wonderful, considerate and caring person that
Thank you.
just loves life and needs to stop listening to what other people tell him to wear. Start wearing what you want to wear.
It's hard though. It's hard when there is like
peer pressure's a
yeah.
B word.
yeah, where everybody tells you that, and
Yeah.
the backpacks as well. Like girls are not supposed to wear backpacks.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
purse,
here
and that's it.
no, you can't. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I get told off by everybody. It's like, why are you wearing a backpack? You're not supposed to wear
You're
a
not
bag.
supposed to.
Yeah, like you're a girl. Why would you do that? I'm like, I have my laptop. I work online.
You
But
wear
it's
what
fine.
you want. You carry what you want.
Thanks, Steven. Thanks for this.
I actually
permission.
have one surprise. This is what we call the Blitz round, and I just want to get kind of it's a little fun. I'm going to give you 2 words.
Okay.
And Souley is actually getting a sneak preview, so I'm gonna have to change it up for him.
Soleil. Get out!
So I'm gonna give you 2 words, and you got to choose one. Okay.
All right.
And just whatever comes to your mind, just pick the one that just you feel more connected to, right? So if I said like peanut butter or jelly.
I'm just like, my rational mind is like, why? Why would I do that? Jelly.
Okay, so that's how it works. Very easy, right? Here we go.
This is it?
Vodka or scotch?
Vodka.
Pilmeni or varеники?
Пельмени.
Club or bar?
Bar.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee. All the way.
Are you early to bed or early or late to get up?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to be early to bed and early to wake up.
Early and early. You want to try?
Yeah.
Do you like to eat out or do you like to cook in?
Eat out.
Russian town that you maybe had like a weird or fun experience?
Brno.
Brno.
Altai region.
Sounds like a place
Siberia.
in Florida. Siberia.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's one Russian cuisine you couldn't live without?
Kefir and tvorog. There are two things. I'm just like, when I was in Ireland, where dairy is so developed there, like, I was like, where's kefir? Where's like cotton cheese, like tvorog? So, yeah.
Awesome.
And Thank you.
But anyway, Dasha,
thank you, Stephen. I hope like the stuff I was sharing there was of some use to all the audience. It's very personal to me and very subjective, so I can't really judge it from outside. But hopefully it was interesting. And thank you so much for having me on your amazing podcast. Hopefully it's not going to be the last time. Who knows?
We will have to maybe do a one from Dublin.
Yeah.
Well,
3 years later.
Yeah, we'll come and check in on you. Thanks again for coming in, and let's get on and up and get up and out of here.
Okay, great.
Ciao.
Bye, guys.